All right, guys, let me introduce to you the Fairchild Republic A-10 Thunderbolt II, also known as the A-10 Warthog. This, my friend, the creme de la creme.
He carries some carries, I see.
All right, so this thing came out in 1976. So in the 1970s, I don't know how you guys know, if you guys know how the Pentagon or the Air Force stuff, usually when they want a weapon or something, they write down the specs and they give it out to all the contractors, military contractors, and they say, who can make this for me? They all kind of like bid on the project, right? So basically the spec was, I want this and attach wings to it.
Wow. That's quite a gunner.
I want you to take this and add some wings. All right. So I don't know if you remember a while back, I introduced the Angel of Death. So basically that was like...
Oh, that's right. The drone.
It wasn't a drone, but a big ship. It was like
the ship that surrounds at 5 kilometers.
Circles an area. And so that's like a ship, like a battleship with wings. This was made to be a tank with wings. So just to give you a little context of the size, so 1970, that's a Beetle. So it's a pretty big gun, bro. Close up over here.
It's like 50.
These are 30 millimeter rounds.
30 millimeter.
So they take that. So the company at that time is called the Fairchild Republic, and they with this. So basically, that big gun is right there in the middle.
Quite the mouth.
Right there.
The Spitfire.
So this is an A-10 Warthog. It's considered close air support. So just like the Angel of Death before, it was like kind of from far, it kind of like supports you. This is more closer to the ground to support you. So this is what you would send in when you have troops on the ground and you want them to, and this guy comes in, takes out any enemy tanks, any enemy enclosures or fortifications. And basically the big thing is that gun. That gun.
That's his biggest payload? It's
not the biggest, but that's the main reason this gun. It's a 30 millimeter cannon. It can shoot 3,900 rounds per minute. Okay, that's 65 rounds every second. And this is armor piercing, depleted uranium rounds. So this takes out like
30 millimeter or uranium rounds.
Depleted uranium rounds.
That's going through.
That's like it goes through butter steel.
Yep.
This is stronger than steel, and it just cuts through steel.
It's piercing tanks.
Yeah, this is the main. This is the main purpose of it, is to take out tanks, armored vehicles, or any fortified enemy installations. But this is not a jet like a fighter jet. It's usually fighter jets or to fight other jets or anything. This is just really to support
air
the
to
troops,
ground.
Support the troops on the ground. There's a battlefield happening, and they just there to support, take out tanks and stuff like that. This is the sound that puts fears in the enemy.
Just gonna like, I was like, what is that sound?
This is when they're loud. The enemies are like, what the? Like,
you hear that, it's too late. How many rounds a second? 390?
65, 3,900 rounds per minute. I just wanted you to hear that sound. This is the sound that strikes fear into the enemies. What makes this plane so special? Like I said, it's designed to be low altitude. It's very survivable. Okay, so the actual cockpit where the pilot sits in is made of titanium. So it's protection against high caliber weapons and explosive shells. It has a lot of redundant systems, like in the hydraulic systems, control mechanisms, flight control. So if one thing fails, it kicks in and like the backup.
Okay.
So this thing is very survivable.
How is it from ground to air, like missiles, the anti-defense? Like, can it maneuver like an anti-defense?
It's
low ground.
It's made to take out things on the ground.
Okay.
So even if like protection systems on the ground, like
it can still go close and it can divert. Okay, got it.
But it's slow for a plane, but it's actually what you want in a close air support, because you don't want a jet to go vroom, like fast over the enemies. You want it to be slow and just concentrate. just concentrate firepower, right? It actually is built with self-sealing fuel tanks. So the tanks, if it gets shot, actually, I don't know what
it seals and it doesn't blow.
It seals itself. So this thing is made to still drive when it's being shot at. Look at this. This thing
literally
this thing still flied.
Technology.
And
look
landed.
at that. Look at that. That's an engine.
It didn't crash. This thing landed.
Engine.
This thing landed.
Holy.
The engines are up here, right? So they're done specifically because when it's coming at you, the wings actually protect the engine. That's why it's designed so when it takes hits, that the engine will still be protected because of the wing. You understand what I mean?
Yeah.
You understand what I'm trying to say? Like
whereas the engines would normally be under the wing and be visible.
Basically, they would be here or something like that. But because the wings are flat and thing, it actually protects when it's coming at you. It protects the engine. So that's like a design. That's why it's so survivable. And look at these wings. Usually wings are, like very triangular. They purposely made it very flat and rectangular, to put more payload.
Payload. That's what I was going to say. What's the payload on that?
It's so obviously that big gun.
Besides the gunner, the 30 millimeter gunner.
They basically you can hook up an abundance of missiles, precision guided missiles, even unguided rockets, precision laser and GPS guided bombs, air-to-air missiles. So
air-to-air. So you
can even attack
do an air-to-air combat.
It could, but its
but
main
it's not
point
focused on air-to-ground.
Exactly.
Got it.
Okay, so this thing's been around since the 70s. It's been in the Gulf War, the Balkans War, Afghanistan War, the Iraq War. So this thing has been through many wars and it's passed the test. And this thing, over and over, people love it. The troops love it. It's cost effective. It's only $18 million to have one, as opposed to other ones are like expensive. 60. Like the latest jets are like $60 million. So it's very cost efficient. It's proven in war that it's a battle tank. It's battle hardened. Battle hardened thing. So it keeps up to what they need. It has a psychological impact on the enemy that strikes fear in the enemy. So this thing is truly an iconic plane because there's not really anything like it, and it has such a unique role and a specific role, and there's nothing else that they even want to retire this model and come up with a new model. The Air Force and the soldiers are saying no. Why? It works perfect. It does everything we need, and don't even want to retire it.
It can't get launched by a carrier.
No, it's not carrier based.
So it's not carrier based, right?
Carrier based. I think the wings are too big for it.
That's what I was gonna say. I was just curious because that would be the ultimate. Then you'd get coastal attack.
Yeah, this is more.
It's more like
plane you have once you have superior air superiority.
So you have that ground, the control, whether it be ground or air control. You bring in this plane afterward.
Exactly. That's it. So I want to introduce you to the Warthog, cool. And that's why it's called the Warthog because it's a fucking badass. Is there anything else? No, that's it. Just want to give you guys a little. I love this shit, military.